Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Galloping Major and this is a Let's Play in USS Pensacola, Tech Tree Tier 5 USA Cruiser. Now this is a game of domination on the Atlantic. From the shipping forecast, only the one destroyer, the Madden. Cruiser wise, Nuremberg, Pensacola and Shores. Then the battleships. We have Fuso, Bayan, New Mexico, and then we have a squad of a Snop and a Nagato. So their two 16-inch gun battleships are working together. Tier 5 and 6 game. Get that plane up straight away. We've got 5 of them. We're never going to use them all in the game, so might as well make a start now. Spawned on the left. Moving over to the left, but I'm not in a rush to get in there. Just going to knock off the speed and let this Bedonia get past, because what I don't want is another ship being close to me impeding on my ability to dodge. And why dodge? First of all, we're a cruiser. Second of all, we're a light cruiser in schematics of armour. So the Pensacola was built under the Washington Naval Treaty limits, and the Americans had to sacrifice something in order to have an 8-inch cruiser with decent mobility, and what they sacrificed was armour. So that's something to bear in mind. I'm loading AP because I'm expecting the Nuremberg will either have to turn out at some point or he'll have to turn in. So if I can switch him over, that means the Shores should be able to make a nice advantage of him there. So I've got AP out. There's a Citadel. So, going to the armour of the Pensacola, yes, you're lightly armoured, and then you've also got a very big Citadel. You can see that our X turret and A turret are really close to the stern and bow of the ship, and that means the Citadel travels a lot of this ship. There goes the Nuremberg. Spotted by aircraft, and that's what I was concerned about. I see a lot of battleships. I see all of their battleships heading this way. I do not want to be in this corner when they arrive, because the problem with these diagonal maps is that the corners almost become a bit of a honeypot. It can be very easy for ships to get trapped in the corner because the way that, let's say one team commits heavy and the other team doesn't, then it's very easy to almost honey pot them or honey trap them in the corner, and then they get decimated, and I don't want to die this quickly. So going back to the Pensacola, yeah, 8-inch guns. So we've got 10 8-inch guns for a cruiser. That's quite decent. Means so you've got heavy cruiser caliber guns and light cruiser armor, and you've got decent speed and maneuverability. You've also got no torpedoes, but we'll come back to that. So why are we playing the Pensacola? Well, we have HMS Exeter on the horizon. I'm expecting the 15th of June. However, if she comes out next week, I'll be really happy. But if she comes out, I'm expecting the 15th of June. And the Exeter comes with 6 8-inch guns, and the shell qualities, or like how much damage they do, is very similar to the Pensacola. Now, obviously, because the Exeter has less guns, almost like your fire output is like just 2 of the turrets on the Pensacola, amusingly, but it's very similar. So I thought I'd take out the Tech Tree heavy well, I'm going to call them heavy cruisers because I'm going off of gun caliber and the Washington Naval Treaty. However, when they were built and launched, they were called light cruisers. So by calling them heavy cruisers, that I'm really talking about the caliber. But so for Tech Tree heavy cruisers, there's only 2. There's the Pensacola and the Aoba, although the Aoba is probably more built like a heavy cruiser, but she just doesn't have that DPM because she's only got 6 guns, just like the Exeter will. So I think if you play both and you can get on with both, you're going to find that there's going to be some similarities when you play the Exeter. Amusingly, Exeter's going to have smoke. That's going to be really interesting, because I know on the PC version of the game they tested her with smoke and they found her to be too strong and they took smoke away. Whereas on Legends, she's keeping her smoke screen and she's going to be up tiered. So she, rather than coming in at an expected tier 4, she's being up tiered to tier 5. Which is going to be interesting. Okay, right. My plan of events is to go hunt the Mahan. Pensacola, due to having 10 8-inch guns, she can really hurt destroyers. And so with the Pensacola, I really do enjoy going on a bit of a destroyer hunt. She's also very good versus cruisers. Against battleships, you're kind of limited. And this takes us back to not having torpedoes. Because you don't have torpedoes, there's no point closing the distance. So when you're playing against a battleship, you're going to want to be playing at as much as possible range. If they're just in range, they're perfect. You almost want them somewhere between your detectability range and your maximum gun range, and you want to be kiting away just to improve your survivability, because you just don't have the armor at all. And your citadel, like we said, is massive. Now, Pensacola was built with torpedoes and they were removed. That was American doctrine, but just before, I think it was in the intermediate years of the war, the Americans removed torpedoes from their cruisers because they felt that cruisers shouldn't be in torpedo range of enemy cruisers. Cruisers were supposed to sit back and fight the long war, fight the long distance gunfight. So they removed all the torpedoes from from Pensacola class. So there was Pensacola and Salt Lake City, I want to say. So it's quite an interesting class, because after the Pensacola classes, they took what they learnt and they applied them to the Northampton class, which probably looks very... I'm trying to think, is there a Northampton class in the game? If there is, I'd like to say it's going to look very... It either is or is very similar to the Indianapolis. I can't remember off the top of my head. So there's a broadside Pensacola. His engines are knocked out. I'm going to load AP. I'm going to try and keep the angle as much as possible, so I can obviously take advantage of it. So I'm going to, although I've got the trait that they call sticky shot, where basically against an enemy ship they have to be plus or minus 60 degrees in order to be classed as not being broadside. So basically from 60 degrees all the way around to what I'd call 0, which is like straight across your ship, straight across the beam. So I'd say your beam 0. So normal AP would ricochet from plus or minus 45 degrees from there. American and British AP ricochets 60 degrees, plus or minus 6 degrees or more. So what that means is with 8-inch guns, it makes me quite a decent cruiser killer as well with AP, especially if I can catch them mostly broadside, because their maneuverability would mean that they're probably going to be still classified as being broadside when my AP shells come in. That may have been a little bit far back, but you can see the dispersion on these guns is very good as well. You just got a lead. So the Shores is running behind the island. I'm closing in to obviously contest the objective. Now Shores 4-kilometer range torpedoes, so I'm not going to be concerned about those. She does have radar. Well, she could have radar equipped, but that's not really too much of a concern. Let's go there, and I might even try and flick the rear round. Now with the Pensacola, the turret traverse is pretty poor. So when you're playing her, you're almost going to have to pretend that you're a battleship and that you're going to be predicting which side of your ship you want your turrets on. The rate of fire is pretty slow. I think the Japanese are faster, and the British, the HMS Exeter will be faster as well. But then you've got 10 guns. in a very strange turret arrangement. So A turret's a dual gun turret. B turret is a triple gun turret, super firing over A turret. And you got the same at the back. So X is a dual gun turret and Y turret is a 3-gun turret, super firing over X turret. And the reason why is because the turrets are like, the hull's been like short, made as short as possible and narrow as possible to obviously give her a decent amount of speed, but then also to try and fit the turrets in within the displacement, they've had to put the turrets so close to the ends of the ship that the ship wasn't wide enough in beam in order to accommodate A turret and X turret. So that's where you end up with this really strange turret arrangement. It's very unique in the game. I quite like it. So here against battleships, this is basically what you do, and that's probably why your guns can be quite accurate. Didn't need enough there. It is just you need to be playing at this maximum touching distance. I think the Synop's going to ram. You going for a ram, Lizzie? No. Okay. Well, we've got full health Nagato to wear away, so we're just going to do what American cruisers do. Play at as extreme range as possible. The reason why you're playing at as extreme range as possible against a battleship is the further you are away from them, the longer their shells are going to be in the air, the more time you have to dodge them. So, my shells, bear with, let's have a look. Of course, the reload is excruciatingly painful. So, my shells are going to take 7.7 seconds to get there. Now, obviously, the Nagato 16-inch shells are going to travel a bit quicker. So, say I've got 6.7 seconds. That's how long I've got from when I see. So I've got Ingenious, so I know when he's targeting me. So when he's not targeting me, I can actually show a bit of leg and go, "Cooey, I'm broadside." No, 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 no. Because I know he's not looking at me. And then I can always just close in the angle as soon as he does start looking at me, if he does. But also keep my course unpredictable. He's wasted his volleys, so now I'll show him a broadside target, and he'll be thinking, "Oh damn, I should have targeted that cruiser instead." Yep, there you go. And now I'll close the angle, and he'll have to change his target. Yeah, change target acquisition, because now he's going to target the other cruiser because it's weaker. And then go on, let's see if we can. Come on, Cooey. Cooey. Come on. Broadside. Nope, you ain't buying it. Worth a go. That's one of the things I like about the Ingenious ability is you can use it to bait battleships if you can. If you're playing in a division, or say you're in a situation here where you're playing with another cruiser, and obviously you know that you've got a bit more health than them. If you want to try and get them to change target, you can kind of bait them by showing, I call it showing a bit of leg, but showing a bit of broadside as well. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to make them switch target because you're now a juicier target. The other one is sometimes you can do it to bait them to change ammunition type as well. So sometimes you'll notice, oh, he's fired a volley of HE. Well, if I show a bit of broadside, he'll go, oh, I switched to AP. And then he switches AP, and then you go, nope, I'm going to angle. I'm going to dodge. You just got to be careful, because sometimes you have to really watch what you're doing when you're doing it. Don't get too cocky, or else someone will just deck chair you one. That's when they basically fold your ship up and put you away. Well, we're just up against the Fuso, and we've pretty much sailed around the map, considering we started in the... We started over at Alpha, went to Alpha, came to Bravo, went to Charlie, but now come back to Bravo. We really have done a good couple of bit of mileage on this game. But yeah, there you go, that's a nice game. Hopefully we get rewarded for it. So 67,000 damage. Nothing special. Third on the team. Second best cruiser on the team. Happy with that. Oh, Bedoni that we spawned alongside, he got punished quite quickly there in that game. Yeah, made a pretty penny. Quite happy with that. Well, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. I'm the Galloping Major, and back to the port.